At least collectively all this right about the oil. And then we can add the only metal.
What have you been up to, Ted? What have you been up to?
Filing lawsuits.
Oh yeah? About what? Election stuff still?
Yeah.
Like balloting? Actual election systems?
The hierarchy of the law has brought us to the point where under federal code for federal elections to USC 9 states very plainly that ballots for legislators and senators shall be conducted on paper ballots marked in a pencil or a pen or with the use of leather machines.
All right, I gave us a minute.
Or with the use of a leather
We will
machine.
call this meeting back to order
Hanging chads.
at
Those were mechanical.
Those were mechanical.
18.
They were punching holes.
That's not the same. We do not have leather systems.
No, we do not now.
And we do not have paper ballots.
Right.
Even though Roden versus Athens County Board of Elections, the judges ruled that paper ballot laws are overrides our election system.
Oh.
The overarching principle.
Is the argument because it prints a piece of paper that then gets counted? Is that what the state tries to argue? Is that what the...
Still, they try to argue that, but it doesn't meet any of the ballots.
Well, there's also, even if it does that, it's so bad. That's not there, right?
Right. So yeah, we're getting pretty detailed.
Cool.
Well, essentially, here's my campaign strategy.
All right, our first
Well, this is
order
your
of
old part.
business is candidate nominations and endorsements. We'll go in order on these guys. I'll give you just a sec. I'm going to pull to our page. Okay, so our first position that we will look for nominations for is governor. Are there any nominations for governor?
I'd like to nominate Alan. Just drew a blank on your last name, Alan. That's so silly. For governor.
I'm going to run for U.S. Senate.
Okay, I rescind that. You want to run? I tried.
You tried. We're just going to go one by one, every single person.
You want to run for governor?
I've been in touch with an election attorney who would like for us to be able to go to court to fight for ballot access, but I've been advised that it's very hard for us to get in front of a judge if we don't have a prospective candidate for the races in which we are arguing we should have ballot access. And so for governor or lieutenant governor, we would need somebody to try to run for that if we were wanting to take them to court for ballot access. There's no guarantee that you will win that case and actually be on the ballot, but we would need somebody to do that. And so anybody who's maybe been thinking about running for something, maybe think about running for governor or lieutenant governor just so we can have somebody's name on the lawsuit. And if you want to know about lawsuits and us winning them, talk to Martin Callen. He's sued the state, he's won and lost an appeal, but he won the original. So, yeah.
When some you
I
lose.
just want to clarify something. I believe what you're referring to, that lawsuit, is dealing with the leadership committees for governor and lieutenant governor. For ballot access, it would be mainly statewide.
Correct, sorry, statewide offices, that's what I didn't say.
Thank you.
To say, I will run for this, I want to be the candidate.
Say that. Say it.
Any other?
I nominate Chase Oliver for governor.
There's a nomination for Chase Oliver for governor.
Here's the thing, guys. I would love to do it, but technically you cannot have two FEC accounts open at one time. I'm still paying down, personally, some of the campaign debt that I incurred running for president. And so I don't believe I can, in order, do this.
Joke's on you, it's not FEC.
Assuming I am legally able to do that, I will be a paper candidate for governor. I'll put my name on a lawsuit. Yeah, look at y'all. Y'all just bully me to doing it. I accept the nomination.
Nomination is accepted. Mr. Mosley, did you have someone?
No.
Can I not do it?
I was just testing you, Jerry.
Candidate for
Okay,
lieutenant.
just testing. Making sure my eyes are working. I will be honest, I can't recognize anybody probably past like the 7th row. So, yeah, you're all blurs back there.
I'll just follow you.
All right. We will close nominations
For what?
for governor.
Thank you.
Now we will allow 15 minutes for a nominating speech. It can be yielded to anyone else as well.
I can make it short and sweet. We need to have more options on our ballot than just a Democrat and Republican in the state of Georgia. The last candidates that we've had for governor in the state of Georgia was a big tax and spend Democrat on the left and a Republican on the right who talks a big game but never really follows through the way he wants to. I want to eliminate the income tax in the state of Georgia. And so I would urge you, if you want to have somebody who's going to be running on the ballot that says eliminate the state income tax in the state of Georgia, fight against federal intrusions against things like ICE in our state, and say hell no to the federal government in the Peach State, I urge you to support me for governor. Thank you very much.
Short and sweet.
My boyfriend's going to hate me. Text you now.
All right, we'll move next to Lieutenant Governor.
There's more nominations from the floor. I'd like to nominate Noda for governor.
Notice always on.
That is
know.
always on.
Still formal.
Okay, cool. Okay, what I'm going to do for this, usually we do ballots because Noda's on it, but what I'll do is a hand raise, if that's all right with everybody. Cool. So, what we're going to do is put the, it's kind of tough, isn't it? Should we do a ballot? Because a yes/no vote is not really.
It's not really a secret ballot.
It's not a yes/no vote.
I won by acclamation.
It's not true.
Does anyone want to speak for Noda? No? No speakers for Noda? How does the floor feel on time?
Can I make a motion to suspend the rules that are preventing us from just putting Chase through?
I think so. I
By
think
affirmation.
Yeah. There's a motion on the floor to suspend the rules and allow for an up-down vote. This is just on suspending the rules.
Point of parliamentary inquiry. What do the bylaws say?
So the
What do
bylaws
they say it should be?
say the officers and at-large members of the executive committee shall be chosen. Oh, that's officers and at-large. Yeah. The party's nominee for public office shall be chosen by 2/3 vote. If no candidate has attained a majority after 2 votes, the candidate with less than 10% shall be struck from the subsequent ballots. If no candidate has attained a majority after 4 votes, the candidate with the least votes shall be struck from subsequent ballots.
It doesn't say whether it has to be a paper ballot or well, it says
It does
ballot.
not.
Okay.
So it's,
Okay.
shall be chosen by a 2/3 vote, but with that, the technical proper way would be balloting. It's kind of assumed because of the way that it would go on this, because you can't really just do an up-down vote on that. So we're assuming.
I'll reword my motion. I'd like to move that we suspend the necessity for a paper ballot in this specific instance.
There we go. Okay.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to suspend the rules to allow an up-down vote, we'll say, on just the governor spot. Those in favor of suspending the rules indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
All right. The ayes have it. The motion carries. We will move now to an up-down vote. I'm going to have you raise your hands this time, just for the sake of that. Those in favor of nominating Chase Oliver for governor indicate so by raising your hands. Okay. Those opposed?
It's
All
not.
right. The
It's
ayes
not.
have it.
It's
The
not.
motion carries.
Thanks, guys.
We have a nomination for
I
governor.
think it's
Thank
not
you.
appropriate.
It's a Chase or Noda.
All right, now we'll go to Lieutenant Governor. Got ahead of myself. Are there any nominations for that?
This Lieutenant Governor,
Yes.
I nominate Shane Hazel for Lieutenant Governor.
I'll second, even though he's not here.
Nominated and seconded. Yes, sir.
He has to be here to accept.
This is just endorsement. Technically,
Technically, a nominee has to accept. It's not.
So all we could do would be endorse with this vote. We couldn't.
Somebody can get a hold of him.
Yeah, somebody can get him on the phone, and if he can say, I accept it, that would be doable.
Is anybody calling him? Because I will.
Yes.
My name is Colin McKinney. I'm with the Greater Athens Libertarian Party, and it would be my honor to nominate Katie Gordon, who was one of our members for the past several years. She really knows her stuff. She is a compassionate person, and I would be honored to see her name on the ballot and to vote for her.
Would you like to accept that?
I accept the nomination.
Thank you. Okay. Any other nominations? Okay. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Shane Hazel would not accept that nomination. Just on vibes. And,
And when's the last convention he's been to? Include the ones he committed to speaking at.
I would have to check it, but I would not even check until I knew that he had actually accepted the nomination.
yeah. He has been asked for something and has said hi. So I think we're safe to say. We'll close nominations now, and we will do the same here. There's one nomination, and Noda is always on the ballot. I will entertain that same motion.
I'll make the motion to suspend the necessity of a paper ballot as it pertains to nominating a candidate for lieutenant governor.
All right, the motion is the same as the last one. For an up-down vote, first we'll vote to suspend the rules, then we will vote for the candidate. All right, are you ready for the question? Those in favor indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
All right, the ayes have it, the motion carries. We are now to an up-down vote here. All right, those in favor of Katie Gordon as the Lieutenant Governor nominee, please indicate so by raising your hands. All right, you have to lower them. Those opposed? The ayes have it, and we have a nominee for Lieutenant Governor. All right, now we move to Actually, do you want to give a speech? I was about to just literally blow past it. Do you want to?
Katie.
Would you like to give us a speech?
Oh, yes. Yeah, so a lot like Chase, yes, we need to have libertarians on the ballot, right? That's exciting. I believe in liberty. I'm very much a strong libertarian and care about our rights. So, keeping it short and simple.
All right, I will now move us to United States Senate. We have one of those open.
I nominate Alan Buckley.
I'll second that.
You want to accept that? All right. Anyone else? All right, we have one nomination. Would you like to give a speech?
I'll keep it as short as I can.
Would you like a mic?
I can just speak from down here. I passed out this flyer, and I was first the party's candidate in 2004, got about 2%. Then in 2008, got 324. The vote totals keep going up, and is it okay? I really think if we can get on the ballot and just get any sort of decent money, I think I can really do really well this time. Because the message I've been sending since 2004 is coming to fruition now. If you read this little handout I handed out along with Mark Mosley, it sort of says my background and where I come from. But I note in here in 2004 the debt to GDP ratio was 60. Now it's 124. Well, when I was in college in 1980, it was 30. So it went from 30 to 60. Well, guess what? That's all the baby boomers. And there's some older people in here. I'm 65. There's some older people in here. And, this is a mess that's been created by the baby boomers, frankly. And you two guys in particular. But you know what? I have a lot of older friends, and a lot of them are good Americans, and they will say, we created this mess, and we need to do something to fix it. That's not your average Joe or your average Jane. They're all about themselves. And don't touch my Social Security, don't touch my Medicare, don't touch any of my stuff. But the reality is, to make this work, we've got to make significant changes. So you notice on the sheet that I handed out, I listed 10 areas of emphasis. But what you don't know, and I'm going to point out to you now, is over all these years, what I do in my free time. I noticed, so I mentioned a yard sign there. I've got about 2,000 of these in my basement. So I can get on the ballot. These are going out in areas where wealthy and intelligent people live because they know this is the biggest problem we've got, okay? And it is. But let me just point out to you, though, in my free time, to show you what kind of a loser I am, I actually sit around and draft legislation to deal with these problems, okay? And if you go through these 10 points I've listed, for the first one, fixing the finances, I've drafted the Financial Sanity Act of 2027, which I've worked on over the years, starting in 2019. It's 19 pages long, it's got 23 points. It doesn't impact people currently on Social Security except reducing their COLA, their cost of living adjustment. But it does change Social Security drastically going forward, so it's not such a leech on our society. And it changes Medicare as well going forward, so it's not such a leech on society. And it creates competition in healthcare. And that's our main problem. There's two ways to get healthcare costs down. You can either go in and have this single payer system where you get this, whatever I say, you get this, and you come in and kiss my butt to get whatever you want, or you go to competition. And you have to reduce the significance of the third party in healthcare. And so that's what my proposal does in the form of a 19-page bill. Well, I also have a bill to deal with all the other entitlements. This is Medicare and Social Security, but all the other ones. I've studied the problems. We encourage single parenthood. We encourage single moms to have more kids and stay single. Because if they get married, it's an economic loser to them. And I've got all the numbers on Excel spreadsheets to prove this. And we also discourage work. In 2014, I co-wrote a book with a PhD in finance about why work, how the federal entitlements and tax credits equalize income and wealth. So you've got a huge group of people who are making less than, depending on whether they're married or not, a certain middle class amount that no matter what you do, you end up in the same place. And that's a lot of the goal of the Democrats, and the Republicans don't do anything about it. So, and they don't even care. So, but in any event, I've got a bill, and you're welcome to view any of these, so send me an email, and I'll give you my email address now or afterwards. But that's the Financial Sanity Act of 2027. The Child Advancement and Digital Elimination Act, that's to deal with all the other entitlements and credits, tax credits. A refundable tax credit is just giving money to people, just so you know. It doesn't reduce their tax liability. And then I've got a tax proposal that I worked on over 3 years. And I do a lot of tax for a living, and I know how screwed up the system is. We have 2 income taxes. There's no connection to spending. So over 3 years, I came up with this proposal. I initially sent this article of Tax Notes. That's kind of a tax magazine for professionals. They said they were going to publish it, then they stopped. They said they weren't going to, and I kept working on it, which was a good thing, because the first draft was gravely inferior to the final product 3 years later. Anyways, I've got this class action against the federal government, against the IRS indirectly, that's been going on through various cases through 15 years. It's just an abuse of power by the IRS, creating a licensing system in itself over the tax return preparation industry, charging annual fees. I've been fighting it in federal court in DC for 15 years, literally, when I first started. And, but in the process, we won at the district court up in DC, so the guy from Tax Notes wanted me to talk to him about the case. I said, you know what, I have this article that I'd really like to get published. And I said, I'll talk to you if you'll publish this article. He said, call me back 30 minutes later, we'll publish it. So anyway, but this article, I lay out all the potential tax systems that could replace our current system. And I point out all the flaws in our current system. And then at the end, I come up with a recommendation. Well, I've got one long paragraph that explains a better tax system than our current system, okay? Because our current system's just got too many problems. In any event, I'm not saying any of this stuff to brag, but I've drafted bills to deal with the illegal immigration problem. Some people might call it amnesty, but it's not amnesty. The people who are here, there's a reasonable penalty. As long as you've got a clean record, you can stay. Again, there's a bill for it. I've got a bill, the Balance of Powers Restoration Act, to get the presidency under control and the executive branch under control, to basically say, if you do something and Congress didn't authorize it, it's a nothing, okay? And I've drafted a bill to deal with changing the gas tax to more of an energy tax based on how dirty or clean the fuel is. In any event, what I'm saying is, these aren't, when I've run in the past, I've generally just had ideas. I've got actually bills that I can put out on a website and show that I'm offering solutions to these problems. Who am I going to go up against if I can get on the ballot? I need help with that from anybody and everybody. John Ossoff, who's not going to say anything about any of this stuff, okay? And then there's going to be a MAGA Republican who's going to be just a Trump, you know what? And they're not going to go near these issues. But these smart people out there, who a lot of them are wealthy, are going to say, look, what Buckley's talking about is what we want handled. We don't want to keep skirting around this, because the only way out of this now is you're going to have some kind of a write-down, okay? Because we're spending more in interest than we are on our military. And this percentage is supposed to go to 1.7. In the next 9 years, the ratio, interest spending to our military, that's per the CBO, okay? Now, Trump will want to spend a lot more on the military so we can go attack a bunch of other countries to make the ratio lower. But no matter how you look at it, it's a disaster financially, okay? So my point is, you can tell I've got a lot of passion about this. But I have solutions to these problems that, if I can put together a website, we can get the ballot access. We can make a tremendous amount of progress, mainly on the financial issues. But again, I'm going to cover all these major issues. So I'm going to wrap this up here, but I want to say this, okay? If you look back at our history, going back about 100 years, about on average, every 10 years, something really bad happens, okay? Whether it's World War II, the Great Depression, we had the recession of 2008, we had the pandemic of 2020, it's almost... In 2020, Peter Daszak, who is the government's main, I don't know if he's with the government exactly, but he's the guru on pandemic, says, this was 2020, I'm not holding my bunker right now, we're going to be hit by a much bigger one sometime in the next 10 years. What happens if and when that happens? And Ray Dalio, some of you may know, is an expert on this area. He predicts in 2028 there's going to be a debt crisis that's going to be disastrous. That's 2 years from now. Whether he's right or not, no one can tell. But he's a genius in this area. But my point is, what's going to happen is they're going to try to tell everybody, stay home, and we're going to just cut you checks. We're going to borrow another 10 trillion. And they borrowed under 5 trillion on this big, beautiful act. There's one line, one sentence in the middle of the bill that says the debt limit is increased by $5 trillion. But the markets aren't going to accept it at this point. Because once the debt to GDP gets up to a certain point, the markets are going to start vomiting. And if the interest rates demanded are 5, 6, 7%, the market is going to go like this. And all these seniors who have $50,000 to $500,000 saved outside of Social Security are going to stop spending. You're going to go to a recession. And the markets are going to go down further. It's going to be like a toilet. You see the water going down your toilet? It's going to go like that. That's probable within the next few years, okay? So what I'm saying to you is, I'm going to have a John Ossoff who's not going to even know what I'm talking about on these issues, okay? Or he may. He's no dummy. He's just not in tune to these types of issues. He's a standard Democrat. And a Republican who's just going to be right up Trump's alley, not mention any of this stuff, because Trump is all about today and him and his ego, and we all know it. And that's it. If you want to help me, I'd appreciate it. We got to get ballot access. That's the first thing. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, if you want to do that.
We did have a few additional people credential in since I gave the last credentials report. So we are now at 52 delegates and 1 alternate. And since we had 0 alternates at the beginning of the day, we did not make our typical motion of waiving the seasoning requirement. But Mr. Chair, if you would allow it, I will move to waive the seasoning requirement.
Point of information, please. Who are we waiving it for?
Mr. Hiram Hawk.
Who is it?
Is that a wait?
Yeah.
I'm good, I'm fine.
Is it all right if I introduce myself? My name is Hiram Houck. I'm new to Georgia. For the most part, I spent the first 57 years of my life in the People's Socialist Republic of California, one of the reasons why I'm now living here. I was a civil engineer in California. I'm still licensed there. And I've been following politics for a long time. I've seen every John Stossel video that he ever made. My philosophy to government is the same philosophy to weight loss. If you want to lose weight, you can do 2 things. You could exercise more or eat less. Well, if you remember Michael Phelps from the Olympics, he used to eat 8,000 calories a day, and he would swim maybe 8 or 9 hours a day, which is a lot of exercise. Most of us can't exercise that much, so the only alternative is for us to just eat less. That's the only way we can lose weight. Now, if you equate eating less with bringing in revenue, and you equate exercising with spending money, or with, exercising would be with bringing in revenue, and eating less would be with cutting your spending, then the only way we can get our debt in check, which right now it's astronomical, and we're heading the way of the Roman Empire. There will not be a United States of America if we don't get that debt under control. We're heading to there right now. If you ask somebody...
This was just an introduction. We're just waiting.
Oh. Okay, sorry about that.
Amazing speech.
We don't disagree with anything.
What are you running for, sir?
Well, I agree with the gentleman here. I listened to his speech. He and I are much in sync about many things. He's got a lot of legislative skill, and I think he could be a big benefit.
I call for orders of the day.
Orders of the day, we're going to have to take it back from you. What we're going to do is we're going to, we're on the
Motion.
to suspend the rules. Really, it's just we're just, the motion's already out there. So we have to dispose of the motion first. Okay. The motion on the table is to waive the seasoning requirement, to let everyone be a delegate.
Everyone?
Special. Okay. So, all we'll do is we'll do a 2/3 vote. Those in favor?
I'm raising my hand to discuss the motion.
It's a suspension of the rules, so I think it's not debatable. So, those in favor, please indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed?
Nay.
The ayes have it. The motion carries, and everybody is a delegate now. All right, now I will open it up for the nomination, if you'd like to nominate yourself. Okay. Is there a second?
That's why I said nay.
Nominated and seconded.
What did he nominate?
What's nominated for what?
What information? What's the time limit?
10 minutes.
What was the nomination for, please?
Senate.
Senator? Senate.
Anyway, I've done a lot of traveling since I retired about 45 years ago. I've been to China, Japan, Hong Kong, Macau, Italy, Switzerland, Germany, Austria, quite most of Europe. And I've had a chance to observe the governments. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you something. When I was in Greece in May of 2025, I had a kidney stone, and I got very sick. So I had to go to the hospital while I was on the tour, and I was doing my vacation. But I found out that I went to the hospital, they did a CAT scan on me, they did all kinds of work, and I kind of explained to my doctors here how much work they did to me to find out that I had kidney stone. They even gave me medicine to remove the kidney stone. I asked him, how much would it have cost if I had done that at Piedmont here in Georgia? He said the work that I had done there would have cost around a little over $5,000. In Greece, I had all that work done, it cost me 420 euros, which at the time was about 460 US dollars. I said, there's something wrong with our healthcare systems. If I can go to these other countries and get this done, why is it costing so much for me to do it here? What's going on here? My belief is that it's health insurance. What happened is, when I was born, my parents went to the hospital. They paid about $500 at the time. It was 1962. And that's it. They just paid the bill. Today, a woman gets pregnant, goes to the hospital. I don't know what it would cost. It probably goes into the thousands of dollars. But at that time, people didn't have health insurance. Health insurance was started during World War II because businesses needed a way to get people to work for them because the government put a freeze on hiring. They wanted people working in the defense industry at the time, and they didn't want these companies paying more money because at that time, after World War II, there was a labor shortage here, totally the opposite of the Depression. So companies, in order to get people to come work for them, they had to say, okay, well, they couldn't pay anymore because the government put a cap on how much you could pay people. What they did do is they said, well, offer you free health care. And that's how health insurance got started. And now it's become this big demon to where everybody has to have health insurance. And they have what they call a premium. Let's say for example, I walk into a hospital, and I don't have health insurance. I have to pay a premium over what somebody with health insurance would pay, because health insurance companies require hospitals to give them a lower rate than what you would pay normally. They want a discount. They demand that. So those people who don't have health insurance are going to end up getting screwed over. So they're basically bringing in a third party, a middleman, that's causing our health insurance rates to go up. And that's why you'll get a health bill, you'll get like $100 for a bandage or something like that. So some ridiculous amounts. It's like, imagine if we had grocery insurance, and instead of going to the store and buying groceries, we just got insurance and just got whatever we wanted. None of us would care what those groceries cost. The same thing with health insurance. I basically go in there, I belong to Kaiser Permanente. I get these statements of showing how much it costs for me to get this done or that done or whatever. I don't really care. I just pay the same no matter what. And that's the problem with insurance. It's basically corrupting this country and destroying this country. And what we've got to do is the health insurance industry has a strong lobby in Washington. And they've got to be put in a check. They've got to basically say, hey, I think hospitals should charge the same no matter whether they have insurance or not. They should not give health insurance companies a discount. If we do that, then hospitals can charge what they used to charge, or medical coverage. They basically charge whatever it costs them plus a 10% profit, which is reasonable. They're entitled to make a profit. But we kept constant check. And that's one of the things we need to get away from. That'll help the health insurance problem. The other thing too, of course, we talked about this earlier in this room, is about the military. And Eisenhower warned during his farewell address about the military-industrial complex taking over this country. And that's kind of what's been happening, is that all these senators, like Lindsey Graham, for example, is heavily subsidized. It was heavily funded by the military-industrial complex. When he went on the air, I saw him on Fox, begging and pleading for money. We need money because the California Democrats are putting money to my opponent. And that's wrong. He's basically setting himself up to be in allegiance with these people who are donating to his campaign. And he's kind of known for being a hawk. And he's getting heavily funded by the military-industrial complex. If you guys ever list, I encourage you to do this when you get a chance. Go on the internet and find out how much the country spend on the military. And you look at, obviously the United States is number one. We spend more than any other country with a number in the number one slot. But you don't know by how much. If you take number two, which is China, and go all the way down to number 6, and add them all together, they're still less than what we spend on the military. We don't exceed number 2 by a little bit. We exceed number 2 by a lot. And this is all because of our foreign policy and wasteful spending in the military. For example, in Afghanistan, they have millions and millions of dollars worth of equipment behind. Nobody seems to care. And these military companies come in here like General Dynamics, Lockheed, and Boeing. They go in there and they just basically soak the taxpayers. And nobody in Congress is paying attention to that. They're basically going in there and saying, we need this much for the military. Say, oh, that's great. We need to defend our country. This is something that needs to be done. So they just go ahead and do that, because if you don't, you're considered a traitor. Our country is worth defending, but it's not about defense anymore. It's about offense. The last time this country was attacked by a foreign power was in 1941, Pearl Harbor. We have not been attacked since. But why are we spending so much money on defense? Nobody is going to attack this country. As far as like with the Cuban Missile Crisis, somebody said, what if somebody wanted to build missiles in Cuba? That's what happened during the Cuban Missile Crisis. But the reason the Soviet Union did that was because we had missiles in Turkey. Especially if we're going to be the aggressor, if we're going to be defending other countries like Israel, South Korea, and Taiwan, people are going to take offense at that, because none of those countries, Israel, South Korea, and Taiwan, are not territories of the United States. We have no business defending them. We should let things go as they may. One of the things is if we build a trading partnership with countries like China and not have all these high tariffs, which is hurting us all. I mean, I remember one of the things we used to joke about at work is you look at pick up tape pictures and all kinds of stuff, and it all said made in China at the bottom. A lot of our stuff is made there. That's because China has cheap labor. They've got 4 times more people than we have. so they can get things done a lot more better, cheaper than we can. The one thing they don't have, I got a chance to observe this, is they don't have a minimum wage there. And I asked my wife one time, she's from there, she said, why don't, I said, that's horrible, you don't have a minimum wage. These workers are going to get cheated. She said, well, if they do that, no one will come. For example, if I had a job right now, if we didn't have a minimum wage here, and I wanted to get somebody to work at my restaurant, and I had a restaurant, I said, I'm going to pay you, well, I guess if you have tips, you have $2 an hour, and people make their money up on tips. Let's say they tip you more than allowed. Like in China, they don't tip there. Whatever's on the menu, whatever the price is on the menu, that's what you pay out the door, including tip and tax. If you pay somebody a low enough wage, they won't come, they won't work there. And that's the way it should be. That's what a free market truly is. California, as many of you probably have read in the newspaper, is going through a very big crisis right now because Governor Newsom raised the minimum wage to $20 an hour for fast food employees. What's the result of that? Instead of getting people more money, because those fast food workers deserve to get more money. What's happening is a lot of them are losing their jobs. The companies just can't afford to pay them that much. They're closing down restaurants. It's becoming a disaster. We should not tell a company how much money they should pay their employees or what the minimum amount should be. We should just let them decide, and let the employee decide whether or not they want to work there. One of the big concerns about Walmart, for example, is that, hey, they need to pay their people more money. You know, if you have a problem with that, if you have a problem with Walmart paying their people too little money, you don't need to shop there. You have a choice not to do that. There's other places you can go. But almost all the time, I don't know about you, but I shop at Walmart all the time. I like the idea of a bargain. Most people do. And the only way Walmart can do that is by paying their employees a lower wage. And the employees, like I said, have a choice to work there or not work there. But if they don't work there, at least they have a choice. The thing is, also on the federal level, all these social programs. Like I said, I've had a chance to observe other countries. I've seen what works and what doesn't work. And the way other countries do it, like China, for example, I'm pretty familiar with that, is if you're poor, like Octomom, I don't know if you guys remember her. She was a lady who had 8 children with 8 different men. She was not married to any of them. And she was making more money than most of us were just on welfare because of her 8 children. Somebody like that would not be in that situation in China. You go out and do something like that, people just live in shelters. They put them in like homeless shelters. They take care of them that way. And that's one of the problems we're having. And it's not just the money that we're spending on these people, it's what it's doing to them. It's becoming a culture. It's becoming even Bill Clinton said back in the 90s that welfare should be a way to get somebody out of hard times, not become a way of life. And these are some of the things that I would stand for in the Senate is basically this, not getting the government to just make cuts in the way they define cuts. Like instead of having a 10% increase in their budget each year, actually start selling some of our federal land, start selling some of the stuff that we have, that we can kind of get that debt down. If we don't, there won't be a United States. It's all that we're doing right now about liberty, it won't be a country, it'll just be anarchy. Thank you.
All right, we have 2 nominations for Senate. Are there any further nominations? Okay, we will close the nominations. There are 2 on the ballot. NODA is always on the ballot. So we're going to do a ballot for this, and we will distribute those. And we'll pass these out. If you're not a delegate, please don't take a ballot, and please don't give us extra ballots.
Sorry, Councilor.
You bet, sir.
And how many delegates are there?
50.
So we're actually now at 54, and we received 52 ballots.
What was the result? I'm sorry.
40 votes.
Buckley is nominated with 40. Hiram Houck received 9. Noda received 3.
The 9 people voted for the guy who just walked into the
All right. We will move on to the next piece.
Standing in front of the projector.
What do we do? We're doing anything good?
Alan Buckley will be the
Okay, we now move to the other statewide offices. So, do we want to start with? Next one we'll do is Secretary of State. I will now hear nominations.
I nominate Mr. Ted Metz.
Mr. Ted Metz.
I accept.
Mr. Ted Metz accepts. Awesome. Are there other nominations?
Sorry.
All right, so Secretary of State, nominations are now closed. So, Mr. Metz, would you like to give us a speech?
Thank you very much. Hi, for those who don't know me, I'm Ted Metz. I did run for Secretary of State against Brad last time, and everyone I see wishes they had voted for me. I basically had the same platform as I ran on last time, of paper ballots hand marked at the precinct level, hand counted at the precinct, certified duly by the poll officers at the precinct before they go to the county, before they put on the World Wide Web to go through all those different agencies that report to the news. I'm also in favor of restricting absentee ballot. Absentee ballots should be reserved for those who cannot physically make it to the poll. Election season has gotten out of control across the country, as everyone knows. I think a lot of people have the idea that there are some shenanigans that go on in the back end of the election management system because it is manipulatable. I'm not in favor of having the ballot marking devices unless the sole purpose is for someone who is handicapped and needs that sort of an assistive device. Otherwise, they should be marked in pencil or pen, put in the ballot box, counted in public, tallied right there, and there you go. So that's that part. The other thing that we need to know and understand is that under Title 50, which basically tells the elected officials what their purposes and their duties are, Brian, the last secretaries of state have been way outside their authority when coming to dictating how elections are run. Title 21, which is election code, gives the duty of running elections to the county election officials. For the last, goodness gracious, I guess since 2017 when we had the data breach at Kennesaw State, I have been in this fight to clean up elections. For the last 3.5 years since we found out everything about 2020 and dug deeper and deeper into Title 21 election code, we have found out that yes indeed, county election officials have all sorts of authorities to run elections the way that they see fit, and any intervention from the Secretary of State's office and their attorneys and all their minions are really null and void from the get-go. But unfortunately, most county attorneys side with the administration, so there's been very little movement on that. So that's my thing about elections. The Secretary of State also has all kinds of other duties, like making sure that businesses that are registered are legitimate and that they're not like Somali daycare centers. Another thing is making sure that the election code, the requirements of the election code by parties and political bodies are actually fulfilled. We've been filing FOIA requests on an alternative party, who I won't name, that starts with the Republican Party of Georgia. They have not filed any of the Title 21-1-110 and 111 disclosures about their bylaws and who their board members are and who their committee members are since 2014, when they converted from an actual party to a corporation to shield their chair, an executive who was convicted basically and had to pay fines for sexual and racial discrimination. So anyway, that's another story. The other reason I'm running, of course, is to be, what's the word, have standing to sue. I think if we can't get on the ballot because we know that overcoming the petitioning hurdle is so high, number one, I would like to use the Georgia Administrative The Georgia Administrative Procedures Act basically states that if a state regulation is so burdensome that it cannot be overcome, the court can grant relief and allow you to do whatever it is that you can't meet those requirements to do. So I think ballot access may be one of those. If I were elected, or even when I'm campaigning, I would also like to see the ability for people to sign petitions electronically on their My Voter page. You can register to vote online. Why can't you register to petition for a candidate online? This in-person, handwritten, paper ballot crap when everything else is electronic is ridiculous. It's way outdated and needs to change. So, unless there's any questions, I will conclude by saying, let's see how we can do this year. Thank you for your vote.
All right, if there are no further nominations, we will close that. Same deal? Same deal. All right. Well, if you want to make a motion.
I make the motion to dispense with the need for ballot.
All right. We're going to suspend the rules to allow for a simple up-down vote on this.
Rather than an up-down vote, it really should be voted for either our candidate or no. I think that would be
We'll take it. We'll take it. All right. We will do a vote for the candidates themselves. So it is either Ted Metz or Noda. So those in favor of Ted Metz for Secretary of State, please raise your hand. Those in favor of Noda. Mr. Metz has it. All right. Tell you what, there's a few more, but are there any people who want to be nominated for specific statewide, including PSC, Attorney General, anything like that, or anyone who would like to nominate someone?
Are there, how many people do we actually need to satisfy the requirements for policies?
Just one, I think, yeah.
So there's no real impetus to have a full slate.
I mean, it's cool. So, you want to be cool. Mr. Mosley?
I keep trying to tell you guys, I know I'm not cool. I'm trying to be cool.
I didn't quite hear Colin's question, but I think it was, is there any advantage to having a full slate of candidates? Is that right, Colin?
Pretty much, yes.
Okay. The advantage is to show the world that we're serious about this. If we have many, many candidates, we walk around, ask for petitions, either as individuals or before some judge in a litigation or before the state legislature, and we have a dozen candidates, it gains us credibility. I just want to make that point. If I could make one more point of what we're about to do.
All out. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay, I want to make this point to the body. We have this ballot access issue that I assume that all of you know about. We must have these lower level candidates on the ballot, or at least running. We've always relied on the PSC candidates. Okay, it would really be a messed up situation if we're going to swing the ballot access situation this year. Get Allen on the ballot. So that puts us, that makes us able to earn our ballot access for the following year through votes for Allen. But we didn't have any PSC candidates to back him up. PSCs are even lower candidates. Okay. Any of the, what I call the commissars. The commissars are education person, Secretary of Labor, Insurance Commissioner, the PSC candidates, and the agriculture candidates. So these are the races that we always counted on to carry our ballot access. Okay, so it's important that we nominate these four. And if we can get both PSC districts, we got PSC District 3 up this year. That's Clayton, Cab, and Fulton County. And we got PSC 5, which is, I don't know, 15 or more counties on the west side of the state. Really need somebody to stand up for those races. Even if you're close. Right, Elizabeth? Do that.
Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, but if we nominate somebody, that person, through circumstances, can be replaced along the way at some point if need be. But if we don't nominate anybody, we can't put anybody on the ballot. Is that right? That's true.
Actually,
Yes.
no. If we don't nominate anybody right now, we can nominate. Actually,
We cannot.
We can only endorse afterwards.
We could nominate if the petitioning requirement changes, but if we don't nominate someone now.
Okay, never mind. I think I was wrong on this. I was thinking about David Radwall in 2022, but we had nominated agriculture candidate at the convention. He dropped out, and David Radwall followed up. Okay, so forget what I said about that. So yeah, we need to have somebody nominated, at least as a placeholder. But if I have anything to say about it, we're going to go further than that. Okay. I'm sorry.
All right, pressure's on.
Point of information, is it not true that the remaining statewide candidates for offices up for elections here are Attorney General, Agriculture Commissioner, Insurance and Safety Fire Commissioner, Labor Commissioner, State School Superintendent, PSC District 3, and PSC District 5?
The member has spoken, and I'm sure he is 100% correct.
Also, in theory, we could nominate people from the U.S. House, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, but those aren't state candidates.
So that will be next. Okay. PSC 3 or 5. I will leave it for that.
I would like to nominate another Dan for his appropriate PSC seat.
All right.
I'm in District 4, but.
Oh.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
In the district.
Okay, so, never mind.
Sorry, next
Not
year.
this time.
Next
We'll get you
time.
next time.
I can do it. PSC 5.
You can do it. PSC 5.
All right.
All right. Doesn't need a
The
second.
west side.
We have a nomination for PSC 5. So we'll sit on PSC 5.
I'd like to nominate Mark Mosley for agriculture.
I'll second.
Excellent.
Cool. We will start with PSC and then we'll come back to agriculture. Agriculture, you said?
Yeah.
Yes. Tom, you want to come up and give a speech?
Not really, but.
I think you probably should run for office. Huh?
I'm an electrical engineer and living in Cobb, which is PSC 5. I've always been kind of interested in this sort of thing, I think that we can do a better job than what's in there. And I'd be doing it just to, you know, as Mark said, get more candidates on the ballot.
All right. For years and years and years and even more years, I've been talking to people about being statewide candidates. And my coaching has always been, it doesn't matter if you're clueless. It doesn't matter if you know what you're doing. And so I myself has never done a statewide race. So I figured this is as good a time as any. And learn from experience and just make this thing happen. So I'm telling you in advance, I'm clueless. I have no credentials for this office whatsoever. But I'm going to give it a try. And this is the reason I'm going to do this. Because I know from experience, I've seen with others of you, some of you in this room, I've seen you come from just like where I am, you're clueless, get really pretty good at this. And I know from my own personal experience, anything that I put myself into, I get really, really good at it. That's my goal. I'm going to take that experience into further years, and I'm going to encourage, harass, and bug the rest of you to do the same and follow suit. Follow me? Because I have a personal belief I've had ever since the 1990s that if you're going to be involved in this party, all of us should think of ourselves as a candidate. You're actually doing that already. How many of those debates you have between your own ears? Okay. What if you had a soapbox? Okay. The soapbox is right here. It's waiting on every one of us. You just got to get past our fears. Thank you.
Other nominations. We'll go rapid fire once we have these going.
I nominate Colin McKinney for insurance.
All right, he accepts. All right, insurance commissioner.
Any other nominations? Please. I'm Colin McKinney. I'm from Greater Athens. I've been with you guys since 2020. Most of you have health insurance. I would venture to say most of you are probably unhappy with it. Is that accurate?
Yes.
You pay a premium. You have an expectation that they will cover a list of things. And then when you go to the doctor, you go to your physical therapist, you go to your druggist, all of a sudden they're like, we're not really going to cover that. That needs to change. The insurance companies that work in the state of Georgia need to be held accountable. If they're not going to do the things that they tell you that they're going to do when you sign on the dotted line and you pay your premium, they need to be held accountable for that. I'm a physician, so on my side of things, I see patients that are distraught with their insurance all the time. On my side of things, from a business standpoint, I've got insurance companies that don't want to pay me. There are laws against that, and the insurance companies just flaunt those laws, still refuse to pay, still go to arbitration, and still refuse to pay. So they're robbing you, robbing me. That's got to change. So if you would like for me to be a paper candidate to help you out with ballot access, you're Huckleberry.
All right.
have agriculture, PSC 5, and insurance commission. He's got it. Man of the hour.
So, Attorney General.
Insurance, ag,
PSC 3, State School Superintendent, Labor, and Attorney General.
Mr. Mosley.
Request to the body, is there anybody who would be willing to at least be a placeholder PSC 3? You have to live in Chad, Fulton, or Clayton County.
I'm going to throw down Judge Christine.
What color?
I agree.
I nominate Christine Austin.
Do it.
Yes.
I'm against C3.
Christine, we're not teaming up on you. We're not at all trying
We don't want you to feel any pressure, but
All right, I nominate Brian.
Like the guy who lives in those camps.
It's only the people on stage that live.
I'm not old enough.
that's
You have to be at least 30.
it's just
PSC.
Oh, yeah, PSC is 30. But state superintendent is 25.
You need a paper? Come on, you need a paper.
Oh, yeah.
With the understanding that I'm not actually going to run.
Admittedly, Brian is very busy. I'd
speech.
I second Brian Allen.
I live in Fulton County. I am over 30 and I have a pulse.
Oh, inspired.
I've never been more fired up for a candidate.
No, I think it's state superintendent or state superintendent. That's Attorney General.
Right there.
Yeah.
He's definitely not. He told me no.
Making everybody aware that almost everybody in this room is qualified for superintendent of education, labor commissioner, and so either of those two commissar races are open to just about anybody. You can be close. So anybody that is willing to stand up and do that, I will help coach you through everything. I've done it before, and then I'm going to be doing it with myself. So you got my promise if you're willing to stand and do it.
Oh, I hear Ramon is. Yeah, I heard you nominate yourself. What? Oh, I could have sworn I heard it though. All right, we'll close nominations. So we're going to do it rapid fire. Same way we've done it before. I will allow someone to bring that motion forward.
Make the motion to suspend the need for paper ballots during the following nominations.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries. And we are going one by one. We'll just pick races and go. If I miss you, tell me. All right, PSC 5.
Aye.
Those in favor of Tom Blooming, raise your hands. You can lower your hands. Those in favor of Noda. Mr. Blooming is nominated. Agricultural Commissioner, Mark Mosley. Those in favor of Mark Mosley, raise your hands. Lower them. Those opposed? Just kidding. Those for Noda. All right. Nominated for Agricultural Commissioner. Insurance Commissioner, Colin McKinney. Those in favor of Colin, raise your hands. All right. Lower them. Those in favor of Noda. Who wanted to vote with the candidate himself? Nominated. Yay! PSC 3, Brian Allen. Those in favor of Brian? Lower your hands. Those in favor of Noda.
He's got a pulse. He's got a pulse.
Can we please have He's Got a Pulse t-shirts?
Yes, he's got a pulse. All right. Did I miss someone? Speak now.
Can you remind us which offices did get nominations?
Attorney General, State School Superintendent, enforcing the Georgia Constitution that education is free for everyone. Who doesn't want to do that as a libertarian?
How many cared that?
Labor Commissioner.
Labor Commissioner as well.
I heard the nomination. Yeah. I seconded it.
Yeah,
So did we hear Christine Austin self-nominate?
I did, I heard it.
I heard it.
Yeah. All right, the pressure campaign is off. We're good. I think that's it. Any endorsements? Anybody running for a state house, state senate?
Yes, there's the West House, Georgia Senate, Georgia House, and
Anything else? Basically, all the other stuff. We'll let that go right now. And endorsements for the special elections coming up.
Yeah, we have endorsement for Georgia House. We already endorsed it, right? Yeah, we already.
It'd be a good opportunity to let it.
Mr. Underwood, would you be open to giving a quick introduction to yourself? Would the floor be okay with that? Is there any objection? Hearing none, the floor is yours if you want it. And then if anyone else is thinking about running for a special or anything like that, we can do an endorsement here as well.
For the record, it's Senate District 53, House District 130, and House District 94.
Hello, I'm Andrew Underwood. I plan on running for House District 14 to the U.S. House of Representatives.
I was a bit reluctant to take this on, but seeing as I'm doing it, I plan on going all the way. So I'm not just doing this as a paper candidate. I really think there is a chance, even if it's a small one. We have a really crowded field, particularly a bunch of Republicans. I think I've got a decent chance of at least getting into the runoff election. But more importantly, we really need someone in Washington who will stand up and take care of these libertarian values that we really need expressed. It's like we've been seeing huge issues with trying to hide the Epstein list. We've been seeing this administration doing military acts without a congressional declaration of war. That is not the job of the executive branch. The Congress needs to take back its authority. We need to cover our budget. We need to get that under control. There's so much we need to do, and right now we're being bogged down by culture comp issues, like should transgender athletes be allowed to compete with cisgender ones. That is not for the federal government to worry about. We have really big, really imminent things to worry about that we need to take care of. And meanwhile, we have these massive omnibus bills that no one reads, and then they pass them. I can right now very easily promise that I will never pass a bill I haven't read. I read on average 50 books a year. I can read bills. It's like, if they don't give me enough time, I'm voting no, because I'm not signing a contract on behalf of my constituents without reading it. Anyway, I really appreciate you guys giving me the time to talk to you, and I am very happy for the opportunity to represent the Libertarian Party of Georgia, and I really appreciate the help, in particular, of Sergio Ortega and Brian Allen. These guys have been fantastic, and I hope they get a round of applause too.
Point of information, if that has been answered. Is Andrew running for both the special election and the regular election?
As of right now, it's just the special election. I don't know that I'm game to run for the general election if not elected for the special election.
We'll burn that bridge when we get to it.
Yes.
If he does win the special election, would we have to re-nominate him to run for the regular election?
No,
we would have to technically it's two different elections.
Yeah,
it's two different elections.
I would suggest if Mr. Underwood is at all interested in running in November, that he receive the nomination for that.
I'm moving to nominate Andrew Underwood in the 2026 election for Georgia's work in November. General election. Would you accept it? You can just drop out if you don't. Yeah, and if you don't want to do it, you can always drop out. Right. This is just covering your ass to make sure that if you want to.
It's giving you the option. It's making sure the option's still there.
Take it, so I'm going to do it.
All right, we'll do the same thing here. Considering this in the same vote as all of the other ones, we're not going to vote on that. Those in favor of Andrew Underwood for U.S. House 14, please raise your hands. Lower your hands. Those in favor of Noda. We have a nomination for U.S. House 14.
move to endorse Zane Placey for Fulton County Soil and Water District Supervisor.
I second the motion.
Speech.
I do get 5 minutes on this because it falls under all other offices, so it's the most obscure one I could find. So Brian and I are both in LP Fulton, and every quarter Brian produces a list of every single office that's up for election anywhere in Fulton County. And a couple months ago, he's like going through this massive list, and he's like, oh yeah, and there's the Soil and Water District Supervisor, haha, isn't that funny? But it's like, wait a minute, this might actually be a good idea, because I looked into it, and all it takes to get on the ballot for this office is to get 25 signatures and not pay any filing fee. So as long as I can cough up 25 signatures, half of which are hopefully in the room here, I will appear on the ballot for this office, as long as they don't sabotage my paperwork. So you might ask me, what is a Fulton County Soil and Water District Supervisor? And I would tell you that's actually a really difficult question to answer. Because if you go on their website, the website is very sparse, and it's actually rather difficult to figure out what they're up to. There's a link on their website to request the minutes from their previous meetings, but the link's broken. As far as I can tell, the only link on their website that does work is to report erosion control violations. But there is a contact form, so I filled out the contact form and said, please provide me with your previous meeting minutes, and no one got back to me. So it's like Obamacare. You got to pass Obamacare to find out what's in it. I've got to run for this office to find out what So I looked through the election records as far back as I could find it, which is every 2 years, going back to 2018 for this office, and it's never been contested as far back as 2018. So it's either been one person running for one office or two people running for two offices. So this would be like the first time in 10 years that any of them have ever had to actually run against someone. And
He has a pulse.
so
It's a dirty job, but someone's got to do it.
What are your qualifications?
I actually dug up their 2025 like strategic goals document. I was originally hoping to be able to cut wasteful spending, but the committee itself has a budget of $5,000 annually, which is actually pretty low. But their main job seems to be coordinating grants to everyone else. So it's really like the kingpin of all the money going to other places. So I have to imagine they're up to no good. And just by appearing on the ballot, there is some proportion of the population, because obviously nobody has any clue who any of these people on the ballot are. They just show up there and vote for whoever the person is. But there is some proportion of people that will vote for whoever is not the incumbent. So in 2024, the person who ran for this office received 400,000 votes, which means just by virtue of appearing on the ballot, I actually think I'm locked into at least tens of thousands of votes without campaigning for 1 second. So it's really, I can't lose.
All right, Mr. Placey for money launderer in chief.
Are there other ones that we can get in on? And we can capitalize and monopolize the entire soil and water conservation for the state.
Yeah, they're everywhere. Every county.
Every county has a
Really?
Point of inquiry, is this a, county offices, sometimes they're partisan, sometimes they're nonpartisan. Is this one partisan or nonpartisan?
It's nonpartisan.
Nonpartisan, okay, so it is an endorsement that you would need, not a nomination.
Yes.
Correct, thank you.
Cool. So we will do the same thing. Those in favor of Zane Placey for Soil and Water Conservation District Supervisor for Fulton County, please raise your hands.
You don't even know if that's a real office, so you could have just made that whole
I think it's voted.
Those in of NODA. Mr. Lacey is nominated. We're looking at you now.
What? No, I am a degree in the geospatial sciences. So it is basically soil and water. Okay.
All right, are there any other endorsements from the floor? Nominations? So it's technically not in order, but we're all going to pretend like we just voted in favor of an endorsement, right?
Yeah.
That's right. All right. If not, that concludes our candidate nominations and endorsements. All right, how's everyone feeling? Do we need a recess, a short break? Or are we good to just keep going? Okay. Entertain motion by Smith.
I have a question for Brian, and this is relevant to the whole body. It has to do with the same question, Brian, that I had asked you about Andrew's race and the leveling fund. Have you done any kind of research about how our statewide candidates, will they qualify for the debate, Secretary of State, as we have had in the past? Or are there complications there? Or do you know?
The complications as to our refunds, there shouldn't be.
You said that again?
There should not be any I verified with the Secretary of State's office that for any special elections that where they run as a Libertarian, they receive a refund as normal, and there should not be any complication as far as nominating in March for the November elections.
Okay, and even if we're not on the ballot for that race, we're still eligible for the refund is the question.
I will research that further to double check, triple check.
See, this is not a special election. It's a general election.
So you're talking about this elections in November, right?
Right.
Yeah, there should not be any reason why.
Okay. It would be really cool if we could get some documentation, like some legal opinion like you got from Andrew.
Sure, yeah, we can do that.
We'll get an answer before qualifying.
Yeah, because we got a lot of money at stake there if we use the leveling fund.
We can double check that and make sure everything's.
Okay, thank you.
Right. That concludes that portion.
Can we take a break?
I will entertain a motion for a recess.
I make a motion for a 15-minute recess.
I second.
15 minutes. All right. There's a motion on the floor. Is there any objection to a recess? It's not debatable. Is there any objection? 15 minutes. Everybody needs to be back in at 3:15.
Okay.
Welcome back, everybody. I think some people took our 1 minute warning and walked out. You're good.
And even better if I get one first.
If somebody wouldn't mind going out and just corralling some people, I think we're missing quite a few.
Mayor of a town called Cutting. That's just, the joke's right himself.
Dan, what are you doing, man?
What?
So what are you doing?
Where'd you get that?
It's not close. I had to work for it.
Two?
Huh?
Did you get two?
I could have.
It looks like my kind of beer.
I said drafty kilt. It's nice. Scotch ale. Yeah. Just take a trip. Got like at least 10 minutes because somebody has to give a speech. Party officers, so vice chair and secretary.
I think they're going to nominate me for secretary.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Unless they met another day.
You should stick around. They'll probably do vice chair first.
I'm terrible at taking notes. I was spending chemistry in high school because I didn't take notes.
Look, if you wait. In my experience chairing these things, this helps. So.
Does that mean I get free time to talk about it?
Yeah. It's not because of this,
I brought my
though.
campaign document.
The key is to just not give. The key is to just not give an opportunity to interrupt you.
This is the perfect start to libertarianism. Make your house your own. Forget about the HOAs and the county permitting rules. You want a house that's a ship? You do that. Convince your neighbors to do the same.
Yeah, but mostly convince them.
Nobody wants a neat street.
I like this guy.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to call the meeting back to order at 3:15. 3:20. 3-ish. All right, so the next item of business is election of party officers. This year we have vice chair and secretary open. So we will start with our vice chair and we'll open up nominations for that.
I nominate Brian Allen for vice chair. Second.
All right, we have a nomination. Do you accept?
I accept.
Accepts it. Are there any other nominations? How do we feel about this one? Ballot, no ballot?
No ballot.
Can I make a motion to suspend the necessity of ballots for all elections that only have one candidate for the rest of convention?
Second.
Point of parliamentary
motion on the floor.
inquiry. Sorry, got it. Do the bylaws state that? Because I know there's something that dictates paper ballots, and I'm not sure which one. So I didn't question the other one because I thought maybe it was this one.
Yeah. Anyway,
We can also just do ballot very quickly, all. Point of information, I know in 2024 we elected officers with no ballot because of the contested. Now, of course, that doesn't 100% mean we contradicting the bylaws, but I'd say 99%.
So I will say, given the prior way we did this, it's worded very similarly between the two of them. Chosen by majority vote, 2/3 vote, I think it's majority now. And then it's worded exactly the same. So I'm going to go with my prior rule on that and say that's not well taken. So the motion on the floor is to suspend the rules and allow all positions going forward, if they are uncontested, to be one candidate and NOTA, that they will be by raised hands. Those in favor of that, please raise your hands. Okay, you can lower them. Those opposed?
Nay.
Yeah. I did, should have been by voice, but good. Cool, so the motion passes, and we will do this by raised hands going forward. All right, so the nomination is for vice chair. Would you like to?
Probably not. As most of you know, I'm Brian Allen. When you elected me back in 2024, I promised I would do the work, and since then I've tried to live up to that promise. And today is the day that you get to decide for yourselves whether I have or not. So if you think I've been doing a good job and want me to keep going, I would very much appreciate your vote. And if you think I've not been doing a good job, then there is no doubt. So thank you, everybody, and I look forward to continuing my work for the next 2 years.
All right. No further nominations. They are now closed. We'll move this to a vote. Those in favor of Brian Allen for vice chair, please indicate by raising your hands. Okay, you can lower them. Those in favor of NOTA. All right. Mr. Allen is our newly elected vice chair. All right. The next position is secretary. So I will entertain nominations for secretary.
I nominate Sergio for secretary. Second.
That's it.
Zane, are you ready?
If I'm nominated.
I accept for now.
Except for now. Okay.
I would nominate Dan Fleck.
Dan Fleck. So sure. All right. We have 2 nominations.
I would nominate same place.
Second.
All right. Do you accept?
I do.
All right. 3 nominations. All right.
Close.
What was that?
I make a motion, nomination close.
I will just close. Nominations are now closed, and we will now yield the floor to, we'll go in the order that they were nominated. Sergio?
Yeah, hi, I'm Sergio. You've probably seen me on the PowerPoint pictures every other slide for some reason. And also, I've been doing volunteer work here for a while. One thing I've noticed in all the committees I've served in is that we kind of have no notes of any of the committees. Like, one XCOM gets elected, they get sat in all their committees, they do their stuff, and then they leave, and there's no record of anything. The next time a new XCOM gets sat, they do their stuff, they get their committees, and they leave with nothing. There's no record of anything, there's no record of who we talked to, what we've done in past activities. There's not really any record of anything. So that's kind of been one concern of mine. I've been thinking about running for secretary, and if elected, I would really want to take a look at that system and have the committees actually take a look and record the stuff that they're doing so that we can have notes as to what we've done in the past, who we can go to for what, and where we can get the things that we need for making this party actually work. I've been a volunteer for a while, and it's been so annoying whenever I need something and there's no record, there's no documentation of what to do, where to go, who to ask. I have to kind of make up things as I go. Like whenever I have to do a mailer, I don't know who to go to. I just kind of go to Elizabeth for everything, and she's been gratefully approving all of my stuff. But really, there's no system behind the walls. So that's one thing I want to take care of as secretary, is actually kind of making a structure for the volunteers and for the committees. Because without that, there's just no way to work. I mean, I'm a testament of like having to put in so many hours just to figure out how to do stuff. So that's really the main thing I want to run on if elected as secretary.
What he's saying, part of the policies and procedures meeting.
So I'm Dan Fleck, and I do have a pulse that wasn't mentioned before, so just in case anyone was wondering. I'll try and be brief. My kind of thing is I want people to be more active, and so I think we need to have kind of notes that people can access, meetings, broadcasts, made easily accessible, keep people involved in knowing what the party's doing. So I think, base camp and all this, it's kind of a mess as to where stuff's taking place, and nobody kind of can keep track of their membership status and all this. So I think getting all that in order and making it accessible and keeping people involved and engaged, are probably good.
Man, I feel like I've been talking a lot, so I'll try to keep this quick. So as most of you know, I'm Zane Placey. I became secretary in January 2023. This is my fourth convention, and I'll be the first to admit that the secretary is not exactly the most time-intensive position that we have in LP Georgia, far from it. But it does require a pretty good knowledge of a lot of technical aspects of how things work, and a lot of the work that I do is kind of the sort of thing that you shield your eyes from because you'd rather not know that it even happens at all. And I do have to say, I was sitting there listening to Sergio's speech, and I'm like, man, those are good ideas. Why didn't I think of that? So I can't just stand up here and pledge to do the same exact thing that somebody else just can't.
Sounds like
stand on. But if you do think that I've been serving as a very competent secretary for the past 3 years, and I'm happy to work with any committees to organize them. I mean, heck, I have been keeping XCOM organized for the past 3 years, and if I can keep them organized, I'm sure the rest of the committees will be a breeze too. So, I would appreciate your vote. Yeah, thank you.
All right, we will take this to a valid vote. There are 3 candidates and NODA, technically 4.
All right, we have all from PSC 1, Mark Mosley and Mason Corey have been elected. From PSC 2, Laura Owens, Katie Gordon, and Alan Hill have been elected. From PSC 3, Kyle Davis, Chase Oliver, and Christine Austin have been elected. From PSC 4, David Barker, Daniel Fleck, and Ryan Graham have been elected. And from PSC 5, Andy Bolden, Amanda Underwood, Andrea Holt, and Mitch Johnson have been elected.
All right, looking forward to a great next year. So the next piece for us, we want to go to the next slide. Is the election of the at-large executive committee members. Same deal here. These are just, everyone is electing these folks, so I will open nominations for the at-large executive committee members.
How many members do we need to nominate and elect?
4.
I'd like to nominate Will Richards.
Will Richards. All right.
I'd like to nominate Colin.
I'll second. But point of personal privilege, I need to be reporting everyone who does the nominating and everyone
who is nominated, so we could go a little bit slower.
Okay, the nomination for Will Richards came from Andy Bolden.
Yeah.
The nomination for Colin McKinney came from Tiffany Gore.
I would like to nominate Zane
Plackey. Zane does not accept. Will?
I nominate Kerry McLean.
Kerry McLean. She accepts. Will Richards.
Colin McKinney nominates Amber Howell, and John Purvish.
Okay. All three of those people, we see 1, 2, 3. Any other nominations? Sorry.
I'm sorry. I already not watching anymore, guys.
Yeah, 6 o'clock. That's a wonderful endorsement.
Good.
We're going to put them up on the screen. Are there any other nominations? All right, we're going to close nominations. All right, we're going to hear our nominating speeches, so we'll go in the order on the screen. Will Richards, if you'd like to come to the front and do a speech. It'll be 3 minutes.
So, for those who don't know, I am William Richards. I have served 2 terms on the XCOM. I have, as a district representative for District 4 in my hometown of Dalton. I have helped with 1 federal campaign, collected at least over 500, maybe 600 signatures. It was not enough to meet the 23,000 signature threshold, 5% of the population of the district. But I've served on the Public Policy Committee, the Platform Committee, the Bylaws Committee, Convention Committee, and And I've also distributed a fair amount of literature for our party at convenience stores and local businesses across particularly northern and northwest Georgia. So, thank you.
I yield my time.
She's got a poll.
Hi. I also have a pulse. My name is Carrie. I served last year on the XCOM for District 4. I'm also the current Director of Communication. So I don't know if y'all have seen some changes there, but if you have and you like them, then vote for me, I suppose.
All right. Beaver?
Can I yield?
There you go.
I'll actually say something. I'm Kevin. I was kind of involved in LP, Missouri before I moved down here a couple years ago. Did about 3 months running around the country with Spike dressed up as the Boogaloo Boys pulling security for him. Just wanted to get involved in this party starting last year, and the only issue I've had with this party since I joined is a lack of transparency from XCOM. So I want to get involved so I can see what's going on.
Hi, I'm John. I've been around for about a decade now, but I've only been on the XCOM once. And I will say I'm pretty good about checking my email and responding. So if you want someone on the XCOM that you can reach out to with your concerns, I'm a good pick for that.
All right, we'll let you guys do the ballots. These are done by majority approval voting. So vote for everyone that you approve of to be on the executive committee as an at-large. Does that make sense to everybody? Everyone that, correct. You can vote for 0, you can vote for 6.
So, as people who remember this debate from last year will know, it is specifically majority approval voting. So it will be the top 4 vote getters, assuming that all of them get at least the majority approval. If fewer than 4 people get majority approval, then there will just be, I think we can reopen nominations, but no one who did not get a majority will be allowed on.
Top 4, assuming a majority. As many as you approve of. What's the, what do you say? While we are doing this, please everyone note that there is a silent auction out in the back as you come in. Make sure that as you go out, you put lots of dollars down. We want lots of bids on all of those things Some of that silver is getting close to spot, but I still think it's below, so you might get a discount, but I don't want to see a discount. It ends when I say it ends. So, it's not over until it hits the reserve, and the reserve is at least $150 each. So, yeah, we got to.
We have time to drink tonight. We'll wait for the conversation.
Yes, we'll wait until bids are done. We should have been smoothing everybody up, getting the liquor through.
Hopefully not. But we'll get there.
Making this and, big cities.
Oh, wait.
You guys got yours or not yet? You want to vote for Washington? You gonna cheat?
Would you please?
What's that? Yeah, did you miss one? Yeah, yep. You already qualified delegate. Do you remember? You want to see it again? Yeah, I got a bunch over here. Who's yelling at me? Thank you.
Maybe you should
Yeah.
Do we have all the ballots now?
All right, we also have another announcement. At 7 o'clock, there will be a game show. Are you smarter than a politician? It's going to be, man, I just did it again, Zane, Chase, and Kat, and they are going to be on this game show competing. $50 if you haven't bought a package. If you have bought a package, you're included already. It's going to be 7 o'clock. It's going to be a hoot. It's going to be a really good time. So please make sure to be there. It's going to be a really good time. You can still buy tickets if you haven't already. You can also buy a meal for dinner as well. So those are limited, but they are available. So get with us if you have not done that, and it's going to be great.
Will it be a hootenanny or a shindig?
It's going to be a shindig.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I was hoping for a hoopla.
I'm not the humble
Yeah. Also, Crowne Libertarian is right around this backside. If you want to go around this corner or around this corner, there's a table there. Daniel is doing great stuff back there. All this stuff's really cool. Buy some stuff. We appreciate his support of LP Georgia. So we want you to support him, support the people who support us, and make it a libertarian economy. Is there anybody who said that they were not going to be a delegate to national or were not interested in that wanted to be? If you did not come here, and we'll get you taken care of, and you would have told Zane earlier today when you checked in. So if that has changed, please come up and we'll get you marked off on here as well.
That's what I said. I'll say the weird. I'll bet you know what I'll do is I'll say the weird thing for the thing that they would have forgotten.
Which direction did that circle? I still have a dream. It's great. I repeated this again.
Where's your first one?
So you're looking at the, somewhere within this circle. And then which direction is this? Which area? Within the.
Yeah, that's they were disaffiliated. They they were so angry, like that they were just so down, so they thought, oh, and they eventually. Yeah, that is honestly
I'm not sure what's next. This way. So this way is are caught by moderate woodlands.
I thought you really? We honestly, we saw. It was actually about everything I put in. Yeah. Yeah. So you got it. Those people like to try parties. No. What y'all were really afraid about that is like, I think we're gonna put Yes. They said that because they just show up in the software, they're a bank, and therefore subject to money. I mean, does the hypocrisy surprise you? We so the bureau out of this bed, probably 60 days after we pardoned the president. Like, there's no balance. Like for me, like it's out of absurd. The regulatory body they said that's just facilitate. They don't even facilitate. They wrote so they wait. But like, yeah, the regulator doesn't have to say. That's just like you're making a you're a bank. That's not Oh yeah. It's a good location. We have a facility.
All right. The results are in for the at-large. All right, so the top four are Colin McKinney, John Turpish, Kevin Mandarini, and Amber Howard. All right, that fills out our executive committee for 2026, going into 2027. So the next order of business, you want to flip that, is delegates to national. So here is the deal. We have 32 people signed. We have 32 people signed up as delegates. We have 30 spots open. So before we make a big deal about it, I'll ask if anyone is not sure if they're going to go, or if anybody is willing to back off and be a ranked alternate, and then decide on the order of those alternates.
Point of information?
Yes.
Over the last couple of cycles, how many folks have dropped off with the alternate spot? Is that pretty normal?
It's basically almost guaranteed. So it's like, if you're a ranked alternate, most likely you're going to be on. There's always a few people who drop off, end up not being able to make it.
Mr. Chairman, I'm definitely going. I'll be a rank alternate.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
I mean, rank.
Another point of information. When we get there and we have alternates, is there a system that we use to bump them up? Is it going to be number 1, 2, 3, or are we?
It's ranked.
It is ranked.
Yeah, and so the two will have to decide between themselves. Do the same.
I was removed, wasn't I? Yes, thank you. I was gonna put myself in alternate.
Okay. We have 3.
So we're good? We're good now? We got them?
Yeah, I think we're good, but we can. Sure.
On the list of 30, I have, in alphabetical order, Brian Allen, Christine Austin, David Barker, Sean Beam, Thomas Blooming, Andy Bolden, Michael Burns, Timothy Canny, Doug Craig, Kyle Davis, Daniel Fleck, Ruby Gordon, Ryan Graham, Kat Hartley, Andrea Holt, Amber Howell, Hiram Hauk, Kevin Mandarini, Frank Mansky, Daniel McGee, Colin McKinney, Ramon Miller, Mark Mosley, Chase Oliver, Sergio Ortega, Laura Owens, Stephen Phillips, Zane Platy, William Richards, John Turbish. Did I not call the name of anyone who wants to be a delegate?
What I'm going to do is for those.
Did you purposely not call the rank alternates?
Yes, so in this case, with 2 ranked alternates, then you would have to decide who's alternate number 1 and who's number 2. Okay. Stephanie Bolden, Mitchell Johnson.
And Daniel.
So
where did he go? He's
listed
Well, I was in the 3rd.
okay. Cool. All right. Sweet. So what we can do with this. Okay. What I'm going to propose is that we do this by a slate. It's a 2/3 vote. Can I ask if there's any objection? Hearing none, everybody on this slate that has been listed is a delegate. I'm going to ask for the 2 just to decide what order you want to be in, and then let us know, and then we'll done. All right. So we have a slate of delegates for National Convention. Thanks, everybody. We still have more platform, we still have, old business, new business, resolutions, other business. And the last piece is the rest.